Let me know what you thought. No, on the day.
Oh, I love it.
Mm-hmm.
You need to spread that over Facebook. I'm just saying that today. Jesus. We'll talk about that today, too.
Yeah. Good? Awesome. What's going on, you guys? It's your girl, Ask Ashley, here with another great episode of Monday Night Juice. As you guys are coming in, please share the video, like the video, comment as much as possible. Tonight's sponsor for the show is Markel Benign Wines. Markel Benign Wines is dedicated to entertain, surprise, and inspire with beautiful moments through their wine. They have the red wine and the white wine. You guys can go ahead and order your bottles today at www.markelbenignwines.com. First, I want to go ahead and thank Miss Donyetta Bailey for coming on to the show tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Donyetta is the owner of Bailey Law Firms, as well as the president of Black Lawyers Association of Cincinnati.
Yes.
Right? Okay. And we are talking about existing while Black in America. Being Black in America in 2019, it is no surprise that our existence as a whole still does not sit quite well with people. We can't seem to have a family gathering without somebody having their feathers ruffled. We can't seem to return items that we've purchased for. We can't seem to have loud music playing. We can't seem to go golfing. We can't seem to sit and wait for a friend at Starbucks. We can't seem to, our children can't shop for prom without there being an issue. So as we get into tonight's discussion, please again share the video, like the video, and comment as much as possible. And then also go ahead and drop your hellos, your highs, and everything like that, so that we can welcome you for coming onto the show. So, hi, Miss Donyetta.
Hi, how are you?
I'm wonderful. First off, thank you again for coming onto the show. One thing that I really want to talk about is us being Black in America, and the struggle is it's evident. Okay, we all know it. We've all heard about it. We've learned about certain portions in history, and then some of us went to college and we learned more. Others of us just learned what we learned from the streets,
right,
or from what we watched on TV, and we interpreted, it ourselves. But it seems like it's almost there's nothing that we can do to be in a world where we are just disliked by a lot of people. So I want to touch on, with you being an attorney, I think it's important to talk about the fact that there are certain laws that we should know that we can do, or that we can abide by to try and protect ourselves. And I want to stress the word try, because sometimes we do what we're supposed to do and it still doesn't work out. So let's talk about, like you said, you and I were talking a little while ago, we were talking about Philando Castillo, right, and how he did what he was supposed to do in his particular situation. Can you talk about that a little bit for us?
Yeah, I think as a lawyer that's troubling, because there's laws about conceal and carry and how you're supposed to handle yourself during a routine traffic stop. Mm-hmm. And he did everything that he was supposed to do. You have to notify the officer that you have a weapon in the car. Mm-hmm. You have to keep your hands visible at all times. And he complied with all that, and yet still he was shot. So I think when incidents like that come along, people become deflated. Mm-hmm. So then they get angry and they don't comply with those laws, or they do their own thing because they say, hey, complying with the law didn't get me anywhere.
Right.
And as an attorney, I have no answer for that. There's no magic wand that I can wave. People ask me, well, what do you tell your son about what he should do when stopped by police? Well, you can tell people everything they should do when stopped by police, but that doesn't mean that there's a guarantee of their safety. Right. So I wish I had more, to tell you in that regard, but I honestly don't. The only thing I can say is do your best to stay alive, right, and then deal with the lawsuit and the policy violations and the legal violations, later. So I tell my son, hey, keep your cool, remain level-headed, comply with the instructions, no matter how ridiculous, and hopefully you'll be alive and I can deal with the civil rights violation, right, under the law, and file a Section 1983 action and file a complaint with the police department later. But that's all I really have in a situation like that.
So, and I'm glad you brought up the fact that you are a mother, and you have a son, because I have a son as well and a daughter. And when you are a Black mother raising a Black son in this America, it is so scary just Absolutely. For them to go outside and play, Yes. Especially since Tamir Rice, it's been worse. So I have to be honest. I don't let my kids go outside and play. I will take them to the park where I can sit there and watch them play. But just, hey, Mom, can I run outside and go, hang out, play? No, you can't, because I don't know what's going on out there. And it's so tough to be in that situation. But the reality is I'm scared,
I think you have to have balance, and you can't let them take your life away.
Right.
So I hear what you're saying about your concern, but if you don't let your children do normal things, then they win.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's true.
And so I think they have to have a normal childhood. So you educate them on things they shouldn't, do. For example, in Tamir Rice, I would never let my son play with a 9mm,
Yeah.
look-alike.
Yeah.
So things like that you can do, but would I never let my kid go outside? No, because I don't want the police or society, to win in that situation.
That makes
Am I going to
sense.
never shop again? Am I never going to walk into a Starbucks or a Waffle House?
Yeah.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
I have a right to be there, and we're going to go, and I'm going to teach my son and conduct myself in a manner to reduce conflict, but at the same time, I'm not going to let you, take away my constitutional rights to exist while black.
Absolutely. I love that. Ingrid said, hey, Ronald, hey, what's going on? Rima, what's going on? Christopher, thank you guys so much for all taking the time to tune in. You talked about how you told your son, try your best to basically make it home.
Right.
Stay level-headed, stay calm, make it home. One of the questions that I've always had when it comes to police officers is, if you are, obviously if you get pulled over, you see red lights behind you, you pull over, right? But if you're not in a vehicle and you're walking down the street, which a lot of our black young men and women do, and a police officer walks up and starts interrogating you and asking you questions, what are your rights in that moment? Do you have to answer every single question that they ask? Because some people get offended by that. Why are you asking me a question? What did I do? That's a lot of things that I've seen, especially in social media. As soon as somebody sees an officer, they pull their phone out. And it's like, well, what are you doing? Well, why are you asking me? What am I doing? What did I do? So in terms of that, is it better to just answer the question so that you can make it home and then, like you said, file the civil suit? Or do you have the right to say, because...
Well, that's a myth. You don't have the right to tell the officer, I'm not going to answer your questions. But you do have the right to ask for a supervisor at the scene. You do have the right to ask for the badge number and the name of the officer. So my recommendation with something like that is, you can video. There's no law that says you can't, video, especially in Ohio. We're a one-party record state, which means that you can video anybody as long as one person is privy to the conversation, is aware that there's a video being made, and that's yourself. So to me, pulling out your cell phone provides a level of transparency that might actually save your life. A lot of officers act different when they know they're being recorded. So for me, pulling out my phone will be a first line of defense.
But does that automatically put us into, I guess, a negative state? You know what I mean? Almost like in terms of, if someone breaks a crime and then a police officer walks up to him and says something to him and then they run. You know what I mean? You automatically look guilty. So if I pull my phone out and you're saying, put that away, and I'm telling you I don't have to, because that's my right. I think
it lets the officer know, I'm a citizen, I'm aware of my rights, so be careful how you handle me. It sends a message up front, like, hey, this is not going to stop here. I'm videoing for a reason. But again, if you pull out your cell phone and you try to video and an officer demands that you put it away, I'm not going to get shot trying to video an officer.
Right.
You know what I mean? Right. So it's like there has to be a common sense element, and you have to judge each circumstance, as it's presented, to you. But I think the number one problem that we have in this country as African Americans is we have absolutely no follow through. So we will go through a situation or experience at a Starbucks, with a police officer, with a neighbor, and then we talk about it on Facebook and we get irate for a day.
Right.
And then everybody goes back to work and we move on. Nobody ever files that civil suit. Nobody ever files that complaint with the police. Nobody ever goes to the U.S. Department of Justice to file the civil rights, action or lodge a complaint. And those are things that I think the message for today needs to be. Those are remedies and options that are available. So when we say, hey, I'm guilty of shopping while black, the situation that happened in Nordstrom's. Well, forget about the apology. Did you go to the U.S. Department of Justice, to the Civil Rights section, and file a complaint because they have a pattern and practice of treating African Americans that way, or because it's a matter of great importance? People don't realize that the U.S. Department of Justice, by law, is obligated to enforce public accommodations law. It's against the law for anybody that has a public service, like a restaurant, a hotel, a shopping center, to discriminate against you based on your race, disability, and a whole host of other things. And so what we need to do is we need to recognize that when these events happen, to lodge those complaints with the proper authority. And I think if more of us did that, then we wouldn't just get a blanket apology. We'd actually get, more results.
I love the idea, really, of especially what you just said. It's yes, we get angry, yes, we get irate, but where's our follow through? And that follow through is so important. One of the things, like the situation that happened at Starbucks.
Right.
For those of you that don't know, there was a situation where a young man was waiting on a friend to meet him at Starbucks, and because he was sitting at an empty booth at Starbucks, the police were called on him, and he was asked to leave as he was waiting on his friend because he did not order anything at the time. Ingrid said, "Amen. Follow through is paramount." So I love the idea of follow through, but the particular situation with Starbucks, their president, CEO, or he demanded that all 8,000 of their stores be closed for one day.
Right.
For
diversity training.
Right. I almost felt like that was just a shut up moment. You know what I mean? That was a moment where it was just like, okay, it happened. Let me make sure my people are cool on their end. Let them get some training, and then we're just going to move on about it. And then I was told that they got a public apology, or he called them and he apologized to them or something like that. In terms of the follow through, like you said, what are we looking when we follow through? Are we looking to hurt their pockets to bring attention, or are we just letting them know you can't do this to me? You may be able to pull that off with somebody that doesn't know better, but you can't do it to me.
It's several things. With a Starbucks, I like their approach, because there are some companies that do nothing.
Yeah.
They fired the people that were involved, and they did diversity training, and they gave an apology. And those are great starts. My issue with follow through is, okay, once you do the diversity training, who's going to go back and monitor all your stores across the country to make sure that things get better? So my question for Starbucks would be, after the diversity training, where do we go from here? And sometimes it's not always, a paycheck that needs to be given, because you can give those two individuals at Starbucks a check, but that's not necessarily going to stop it from happening again to another African American at a different store. So my thing is, things that the U.S. Department of Justice does when they make a finding that a business is guilty of violating the law in public accommodations is they have a monitoring system, the same way we did in 2000 when we had, the race riots, and we did a monitoring of CPD, and we had the consent, agreement. Things like that, where you're constantly checking up on the business to see, after this incident, how are you doing?
Yeah.
Making them report. How many other times have African Americans, been falsely accused of loitering or had some sort of other racial incident, and what have you done since then?
Yeah.
So to me, that's a part of follow through too.
Absolutely. Chrissy says, you said that they have a right to ask for a supervisor. What if they refuse to get a supervisor on the scene? What if they
deal with it later? Stay alive. So my thing is, just because the law says certain things, just because you have a policy that requires certain things, doesn't mean that when you're in real life, people actually adhere to it. But these are things that you ask and you try, and then we'll deal with it later. So if you're on video asking for a supervisor and the officer says no, as a lawyer, when you come to my office, that gives me something, to work with. Gotcha. But again, I'm not a guarantor of all things. Just because this is your right or this is policy, it's going to be followed. When you're out in the field, officers do what they want and get checked later, sometimes, if not at all. We see in Ray Tenzing, we're still waiting for accountability in that situation.
Right.
So I wish I had all the answers, but I don't.
Wow. That just
blows your mind, right?
It does. It really blows my mind, because it's almost like I don't want to say we're damned if we do, we're damned if we don't, because it's not like that. I just think that a lot of us don't know the necessary steps to take to go above and beyond. You know what I mean? To some of us.
Let's talk about those. So I think, let's take the Ray Tenzing situation. Case is over. Justice was not served. But what did the community do in response? It's been a year. We've done nothing. Joe Dieters was up for re-election. We re-voted him into office. Some of the judges that were involved that made the adverse evidentiary decisions that everybody was upset about. Judge Shanahan, who presided over the first trial, was up for re-election right after the first trial. People didn't turn out to vote against her. Judge Leslie Gibbs, who presided over the second trial, was up for re-election in November of 2018. Again, we re-elected her into, office. When it comes to protesting, I was down there. I saw not even 20 people protesting after the decision was made. Mayor Cranley, he didn't do what he needed to do in that circumstance. He was up for re-election against an African-American woman. What happened?
Yeah.
She lost.
Yeah.
So for me, follow through is not only the civil suit, follow through is protesting. Follow through is holding the public officials that make the decisions that matter to us accountable. Follow through is awareness. So we've had community forums where we talked about, hey, these are the laws or these are the public officials that control things that affect African Americans. How many people came to the community forum?
Right.
How many people made themselves aware and voted differently?
And I'm glad that you brought all of that up, because like the opportunities that I've had to come in contact with women like you or Iris Rowley or you know what I mean, Yvette Simpson, women who really are going in and putting in the work to make the change.
Right.
It's like the little, I don't want to call us the little people. We're not the little people, but the people who are who have no knowledge of what it is that you all do to carry on the fight. It's like we don't know, you know what I mean? We don't know that all of these things are in place for us.
Right.
And I don't know if that's on our side for our lack of, drive to go out and get the knowledge, or if that's just lack of the word being spread, which I highly doubt that, because I know Iris Rowley, and the word is going to get spread.
Social media is a blessing and a curse, and I think the blessing of social media is you can spread the word to more people than you otherwise would have. And so my thing is, I've seen people like an event on Facebook or on Instagram, but then not show up.
Yeah.
Then there are others that I truly feel like it's a lack of awareness. They missed the post, or they're not on social media. They only check it every 2 weeks, so they missed it. And then some people are just busy trying to live life. Single mother trying to raise your kids, and you see the event, but you don't necessarily have the time, to go. So I think it's multiple factors.
Right.
But I think we have to do better.
Yeah.
Because there are social events that all of a sudden miraculously you find the time. And there's also the mindset, oh, somebody else is going to do that. Donnie Bailey, president of Black Lawyers, is going to do that. Iris Rowley is going to do that. Tanaya Denard is going to take care of that. Well, they need your support. They need you, to show up, and they need, your vote, and they need your voice to be heard. Showing up at city council meetings, showing up at the polls, showing up at community forums that are designed to educate you on what's going, on. Not just being a Facebook warrior. Gotcha. Where you see stuff and you comment and you like or you dislike and you complain, but it stops there.
Gotcha. Ingrid says, I worked for the company during college. Starbucks had zero tolerance for any discrimination. She also put some other things, but it's not popping up. Chrissy says, as a female, if I get pulled over in a dark, secluded area, what options do I have to deal with that officer?
For me, I always try to never do that. So I've been pulled over before on a highway where it's dark. I try to get off at an exit with lighting, So just because they turn on the lights and sirens doesn't mean I have to stop in the middle of nowhere. If I see that there's an exit that's, 1 mile away, then I will pull over to the shoulder and coast to the exit where the light is.
So what are, and that makes perfect sense to me, but in the back of my mind, I would be scared as hell to do that, only because in their mind now I'm fleeing.
So that's why I pull over to the side, on the shoulder, put my flashers on so I'm not fleeing.
Gotcha.
And then I drive at a 30 mile to 40 mile an hour pace to the exit. Gotcha. Can't say I'm fleeing when I've pulled over to the side, my flashers are on, and I'm doing below the speed limit.
Gotcha. Okay, awesome. So for those of you that are tuned in, we have the beautiful Miss Donyetta Bailey of Bailey Law Office here with us tonight on Monday Night Juice. She's also the president of the Black Lawyers Association of Greater Cincinnati, and we are talking about existing while black. And there are, I believe, several ways for us to be able to protect ourselves just off of the strength of knowing certain knowledges when it comes to the law, but also common sense. That I love the words that you use. Common sense of just get back home. I know you mad. I know you're frustrated. I know you tired, but just get back home. And when you get back home, then you can call people like Donyetta Bailey and say, I need you to handle this because I was done wrong. Something was done wrong to me. They treated me in a manner they're not supposed to treat me in. Because the thing that frustrates me too when I talk about this is, so share the video, like the video, comment. That's what I was getting at. But the thing too that really, really frustrates me is I feel like somewhere down the line, it the idea of what being a police officer meant, the roles changed. Meaning, you're no longer here to protect and serve me.
Exactly.
You're here to enforce a law on me. You know what I mean? You no longer see me as a citizen that you work for.
Right.
You see me as a piece of dirt that has to listen to you, or someone beneath you that has to do whatever it is you say.
Exactly.
And that is the frustrating part when it comes to dealing with police officers for me. I know several police officers, especially here in the Cincinnati area, who are amazing individuals, amazing family men and women, you know, fathers and mothers, who dedicate their time to go into schools and make sure that the kids are safe and that they build rapport with these children. Like, so I know some amazing officers, but there are so many officers who are not that way, that, you know, I don't want to say kill it for everybody else, but at the same time, who put me in this mode where I don't feel safe. When
right.
if I'm around that police officer that I know and it's one-on-one, I'm cool. But even when I'm with that police officer and there are several other, I no longer feel safe.
But I think that's a good point, and it's called community-oriented policing. And I went to an event that Iris Rowley put on that addresses that, and we had, it was a forum, but like at the table, we had to sit with police officers. And I had a white officer ask me, like, Donnie, what's the problem? Because when I walk into a black neighborhood, I've been spit on, you know, I've been yelled, you know, racial slurs. And I said, it's because you don't live in the neighborhood where you police. I live in Green Township. And one of the reasons why I have a good relationship with the people in Green Township, or the police officers in Green Township, is because they grew up in my neighborhood. And I see them at Kroger. Our kids go to school together. So when they see me, even though I'm black and they're white, they don't see that necessarily. They see me as a member of their community. They know my son. Well, with Cincinnati Police Department and so many of the police departments, you live in Mason, but you come to Avondale every day.
Yeah.
That's where your beat is. I'm like, so you don't see these kids as a part of your community. You don't see these people as human. You didn't go to school with them. You didn't grow up with them. But for me, I told them, why don't you find a way to interact with people in a neighborhood where you police when it's not in response to a service call? Why don't you coach the little league teams for these kids? Why don't you do events at their churches? So what happens is there's a relationship that starts to build. So then now you're not the black woman on 3rd Street. You're Miss Sheila. And I know Miss Sheila because I coach Miss Sheila's son. Or me and Miss Sheila go to the same church. People forget there's value in that. And in a lot of the white neighborhoods, the cops also live out there. They went to school and grew up with the people out there, so they treat them differently because they are a part of the community in which they serve. And I feel like we do our communities a disservice when we bring cops from other neighborhoods that have no understanding, you know, no common ground with our people, and you're just there. You don't see us the same.
Yeah, absolutely. Christopher says, as a black male, we are perceived as a threat. How we show to an officer, or he says, how do we show to an officer that I'm not a threat?
Well, I think one thing, you know, I think for some officers, you're never going to show it. Just
the reality
existing
is,
while black, the bottom line is they're going to think you're a threat. But I think what can help is when they pull up, it's not immediate confrontation on your end. So even though you're upset about the fact that you've been pulled over, even though you have doubts about whether or not you're going to be treated respectfully and fairly, don't come at the officer with a whole bunch of what I call extra. So if you want to ask the officer, you know, why you're being stopped, ask in a respectful way. Watch your tone, watch your language. And at the end of the day, it's no guarantee that you're going to survive the experience and not going to be treated differently. But I think that helps. I try not to fulfill the stereotype in any situation that I'm in. If you expect me to be irate, I'm going to be calm just to show you that I'm not what you expect.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I like that, the idea of, you know, making sure that you stay level-headed regardless of how upset you are about the situation, because the reality is, right up until that time that police officer walks up to you, you have no idea who you are dealing with.
Exactly.
You just don't know. You don't know if that's the cool cop who knew you, or the cool cop who, you know, you the last person he's pulling over on his shift and he just want to go home and he about to give you a warning. Like, you just don't know. You have no idea. So to always stay in this mode of being level-headed, being calm, being cool, and I'm going to say it again, just making sure that you get home means everything. So let's talk about for a second. Let's shy away from the police, because a lot of times too, it's not just the police; it's the public that's calling the police. And then there are times where the police are like, "I can't believe you just called me out here for this," but because they got the call, they have to, investigate or go about things a certain way. How is it, or what is there? What laws maybe are in place for us to protect ourselves against other citizens?
The police have a duty to enforce our rights, against discrimination as well. So my thing is, again, follow through. So let's take the barbecuing while black incident in California. So my thing is, you come to the scene and you realize that she called the police for something improperly. Well, they have the right to bring charges against her. So my thing is, follow through with the police station and make them start prosecuting people that call the police unjustifiably. Everybody's mad at Jussie Smollett, and they're saying, hey, you falsely claim, that you were assaulted. And people are calling for him to have criminal charges. But what I'm amazed about is, where was that same call for the woman in L.A. that made false charges against the African Americans that were barbecuing?
Yeah.
Where's that same, energy for all these white people across the country that waste police officers' time? They act like there's no laws that they can use to prosecute these people.
Yeah.
But these people have no fear calling the police for no reason, because what happens, the cop comes out, they didn't arrest the African Americans, but they didn't arrest her. So remember the one where the guy was doing a housing inspection and a white woman called the police on him?
Yeah.
Well, the cop told her, let him do his job, and if you interfere with it, then I'm going to arrest you. But my thing is, why didn't you arrest her then?
Yeah.
She had already interfered improperly.
Yeah.
You had grounds.
Yeah. So
I feel like the cops are giving these people a pass.
I'm so glad I asked that question, because that makes so much sense to me now. And again, like, and I'm gonna say it, like, I am one of these, African American individuals who just don't know. I just want to get home.
Right.
You pull me over, you say I was speeding, and I know I wasn't. Whatever. I will argue about it then. Please just give me the ticket so I can go home. But to think of, because I haven't had a police officer called on me, but I have had a confrontation with a woman who basically, tried to tell me that my kids couldn't play in a certain area.
Right.
And I mean, it was a confrontation, obviously, and I didn't take Miss Danietta's advice. I was mad. I went off. You're not about to tell me my babies cannot play in this area where all the other babies are getting to play. You know what I mean? So I was not calm. But in that sense, I would have never thought, well, press charges against her because she's wrong.
For the false claims. You
know what I mean? So in terms of, like we talked about, Nordstrom's, and there were women, there was a group of women, I think it was in it was in Louisiana, I believe, last year, who went golfing. And, they were elderly women, but they enjoyed golfing. They had a cute little golf group. Well, because they were going slow, somebody called the police on them. The owner actually called the police on them and said, these women aren't equipped with any weapons outside of their mouths. That's what he said. So in terms of that, when the police officers come out there, is that a false claim? You know what I mean? Like, you're basically, you call the police out here because I was slow. You know what I mean? So is that
obstruction of justice? Like, we don't have time for that. It's like yelling fire in the middle of the street when there's no fire. You can go to jail for that.
Got you.
So for me, that's no different. But the bottom line is, again, holding them accountable. We've become, as African Americans, complacent with the apology.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. And then it goes away. We're outraged for a day, and we go back to work.
Yeah.
But go down to the police station and lodge a complaint with the police, because you basically, number one, why did you come? 911, what's your emergency? Golfing while black. What is it about the 911 in person, or what is it about the police officers that when they get that type of call with that information, it's one thing if you don't know what the dispute is before you get there. But in advance. They're not armed with anything. They're not doing anything wrong. Nobody's in danger.
So why'd you come?
Why'd you come? And where's the accountability for the fact that you came? Or for the ones where you didn't know beforehand, but now you get out there and you realize that it was a false call. Why is there no, reprimand and no retaliation against the person that made the false call?
Gotcha.
And why are we okay with that?
Yeah.
Is the bigger question.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Miss Danietta, you have definitely came through and dropped some gems on me. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
What I do know right now is stay calm, keep a level head. If you disagree with something that they are doing, that is fine, but take it to court. Make it back home safely. One of the other things that, and I hate to even have to say it, like, don't make sudden moves. Like, and that's just the reality of it.
It is.
Don't make a sudden move. If you have it just like, you know, with Mr. Castillo, like we were talking about, even if you've got the right to have a firearm or whatever the case may be, don't make a sudden move. You know what I mean? Do what it is that you know you're supposed to do, but at the same time, like she said, keep a level head and just make sure that you make it home. Also, if you get into a confrontation with your neighbor or someone at the grocery store or anything like that based off of you, and you know in your heart that it's really just malice coming towards you because you are a black individual, again, keep a level head. No, it's not right. No, it's not okay. But we have to do better at fighting them on their terms and stop letting their stereotype be our reality. And
I love that. You
know what I mean? That we get loud and we get irate and we want to fight and we ghetto and then that's it. And you know what I mean? Like you said, and then there's an apology and it's like, okay, thank you. Apologies are not enough anymore. That's just like the, who is that? Gucci? Mm-hmm. That's just like with Gucci. Right. Sorry. What? Sorry. Gucci... 12 major companies. Yeah, 12 major companies have done this, and all you have for me is a sorry, and you're Gucci. And I mean, all of our celebrities are wearing your items. Like you said, why isn't the designer fired? Whoever was in that room when that decision was made to put that out there, why aren't they fired?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, we have to do better at, like you said, holding people accountable and stop being okay with just a sorry. Sorry is no longer okay. Sorry is the one thing that we are so passive about, and then we just say, okay, fine. And then we sit back until we get mad again. Right. And stop getting mad and start doing something about it. Like, I can't stress that enough. And I wanted to have you on the show and ask this question because for me, as a woman, a black woman who loves black men, but not only that, as a black woman with a black son, I have to be able to do what is necessary to protect my child at all times, and I need him to be fully equipped with knowledge. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I used to be this mom who was so adamant about her baby having to play football because he got to be tough. Right. You know what I mean? I don't care nothing about being tough no more. I need him equipped with all the knowledge in this world to help him make it in a world where he is just not fully accepted. Absolutely. All the time. Like, and that's
teach
just
them to fight for the civil rights. I bring my son, you know, to a lot of civil rights events because I want him to see what standing up looks like. I want him to see what follow through on certain processes and holding people accountable, you know, looks like. So if I could leave everybody with one thing, I would say, if you're in a public place and you feel like you've been discriminated against, contact the U.S. Department of Justice, Civil Rights Division, and lodge a complaint and start holding these restaurants, hotels, and stores accountable. Yeah. If you have a negative experience with the police, contact the Citizens Complaint Authority through the Cincinnati Police Department and lodge a complaint. You know, vote.
Yeah. And I can't wait until November comes around again in a couple more years.
I got some grudges and axes to grind.
You know, because I it's so tough because you learn so many things when you get out of school. You know, you remember what they taught you, but then sometimes you find out that what they taught you is not all of the truth. Right. You know what I mean? I'm not going to say, I feel like for every truth, they sprinkle a lot of lie and, or withhold a lot of information. And then when you grow up and you become your own adult and you got your own family and everything like that, and then you find out so much more, you feel bamboozled, like, oh my goodness, that right. They run amok on me like I didn't know. I had no idea. Your feelings get hurt. You know what I'm saying? So just make sure that you guys are fully equipping yourselves with enough information as you possibly can to make sure that you make it back home to your family safely, because at the end of the day, that is all we really want, is to be able to go to our families, love them, kiss on our babies, make love to our husbands and our wives, boyfriends, girlfriends, whoever's, and go to sleep with peace of mind that we are okay and that we get to live another day. I mean, that's just the reality of it. So, again, thank you so much, Miss Donyetta, for coming onto the show. Now, the kind of attorney that you are, right? Is this something that we can come to you about? And say,
you can come to the Black Lawyers Association. Okay. You know about it. Okay. I do civil rights, but I deal with it with respect to employment. Okay. But we have other lawyers in our organization that deal with it with respect to police and public accommodations.
And can you tell our viewers how we can contact you guys or find you guys on?
Yes. So our website is www.cincyblac.org. And so you can go to our website and you can look up an attorney by practice area, and you can also look up attorneys, by name. We're not a law firm. We are a bar association. So meaning we're a collective of African American, lawyers and other lawyers who support, our mission. And so we have links to our individual websites for the firms and our respective places where we work. You can go and find a lawyer that way. Okay. For me personally, if you're discriminated against at work, I specialize in employment law. So I deal with discrimination at work. That's my specialty area.
I've been Ask Ashley it's been about 3 years now. However, I was in corporate America for a very long time. I wish I knew you back then.
Yeah.
Because I would have had plenty of things to go off about. And honestly, I have to admit, I decided to create something else because of
negative experience.
It wasn't just a negative experience. There was a, and I hate that this even happened because it just, you just found out about it yesterday, but there was a child that lived across the street from my mother who committed suicide.
Oh, wow.
And when we talked to her mother, she said she felt like she just had nobody. And for me, my thought process, there is too many people in the world for nobody to feel like, or for anybody to feel like they have nobody.
Right.
There's just too many of us. You know what I mean? So Ask Ashley was created for that reason, but I decided to make it a full-time thing because I got tired of working for people who did not respect me, who utilized all of my information but wanted to pay me less and treat me less than.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't find myself bringing myself to work for someone like that ever again.
Absolutely.
So, thank you again so much for coming on, though. If you guys have some issues at work, okay, y'all can definitely call my girl. If you've got other issues outside of work, you can still make sure that you guys reach out to the Black Lawyers Association of Cincinnati. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to tune into another great episode of Monday Night Juice, and we will see you all next week.